companion cylinders, and that's usually we have an indication we'll have one high cylinder and one low, especially with the two being low, 1 and 2, 3 and 4 are on the opposite side of the compression stroke.
All right, opposite side.
Basically, you have when number 1 fires, the second one's going to fire would be number 4, because those actually, on the way the coil's set up, 1 and 4 are firing at the same time. So number 1 spark plug and number 4 spark plug, and on your particular truck, because you got 8 spark plugs, that's basically one's for the exhaust stroke, one's for the
they're a little bit off in their firing.
Correct.
One second, just.
Well, actually, on the dampener itself, there's actually 2 windows. One, they will control the front coil. The other window will control the back coil. And basically, they're timed precisely when they come in.
Together?
Together. They're supposed to fire. Basically, 1 and 4 on the front coil are going to fire, and 1 and 4 on the back coil are going to fire at the same time.
Same time, all right.
And that's basically why they got 8 spark plugs, because we're trying to, the whole reason is we're trying to reduce emissions, okay? We're trying to burn all that unburned fuel.
Not add horsepower or fuel efficiency.
It's for, a fuel efficiency, and also for emissions purposes. Basically, if we can burn that fuel more efficiently, we're going to have a hotter spark. We're going to have a better performance, and we're going to be able to run it a little better. So my thinking on it, we got fuel pressure. Okay, there's no question in my mind that we got fuel pressure. Got good quality of fuel because it's in good shape. We got ignition spark. All 4 cylinders are firing, both coils are firing. So in the equation on how engines work, we got to have fuel, we got to have ignition. The third equation is compression. Okay. And with that being said, we're like, okay, we're low on compression on a couple cylinders. Well, what causes that? If our valve, which is our camshaft, and our crank are not perfectly in top dead center, if we're 1 tooth or half a tooth degree off, it's going to change the geometry of everything in that realm. Because the computer is going to say, hey, I see where I'm at right here, and I see where I'm at here, and I've got to advance my timing. Because the computer says, hey, I need to advance it to 20 degrees. Even when I've got the spout connector, because there's a connector that we undo, when we set base timing, after we do this, and we get everything lined up.
This isn't a rare thing, then, is it?
No, I see it pretty common. I'm going to give you your key. I'm going to show you one. Let me get me open here. If I know what it is.
The timing belt, 60% off, can cause it at a 2,000 RPM range right around there.
Absolutely. Come back here. I want to show you a device that I had removed off the film in the car.
With just a little bit of certain load at 2,000 RPMs can create a rich, it overcompensates on fuel.
I had a balancer off a Ranger like yours. This particular truck, you can see this is the keyway. If we look at it this way, the keyway, they put silicone in there to keep it from going in there. But if you look at this, see how the spot's here, and this is machined out?
Right, right.
This dampener was left loose, and what happened over time is it wore this keyway hole here, and it actually advanced the timing. You can
How about that?
You can see that there's 36 teeth, and there's one missing. Okay, with this one missing, that's where the crank sensor sits. Okay. What on this man's particular truck is it actually was right here. You really can't see a lot of this stuff because all you did is you advanced as this key weighs 125 thousandths, so it's almost an 1/8 inch. Okay,
so like a tooth off then.
We moved it 1/8. So this man had put Cadillac converters in it. He had paid someone to put fuel pumps in it. He paid everybody to do all this work, put new timing chain and everything in it. Nobody caught this. And it was at 5 other shops before it came to me.
Just like me.
The dealer said, hey, we don't want to work on it, go see Marty.
Yeah.
And I looked at it, I spent the same amount of energy that I did on your truck, and I said, let me pull it off, let me look at it. And sure enough, that was wore out. I put a new dampener in it. Man's truck runs perfect.
And this is called a dampener right here.
Well, this hole is a pulley.
Whole thing?
It's a balanced dampener.
Okay.
On your particular truck, yours is actually in 2 pieces. On your particular truck, instead of having this reluctor wheel, you're going to have 2 windows. Actually, there's going to be 8 holes. Basically, it's going to be like a little I thought we had one laying around. I probably do. After you leave, I'll find it. But, I keep this stuff around so I can show people what we find, and I take pictures. I've got probably a library of pictures of stuff that I've seen over the years, because that's all we work on is Fords, you know what I mean? And we work on other cars too, but when it's a weird problem like yours, they let me play with it, and I'll break my teeth on it, and I'll take pictures, and I'll learn from that so I can educate the next guy that comes in. But I've seen on that Ranger there, one thing what I noticed that I didn't like on yours was the keyway itself doesn't sit up high enough. Somebody along the line has put a timing belt in that car. They probably lost the factory keyway, and that keyway is supposed to be up about 50 thousandths. When I mic'd yours, it's at 25 thousandths. So half of that top of the keyway is missing.
There's some play in there?
Yes, sir. And this bolt that held this dampener on was loose. So we basically were able to take our finger and pull that off. We pulled it off. So, and that's one of the reasons why I want to pull that cover off and look at it. When we got everything off out of the way, we can, just like our illustration.
So there was some mechanical problems that you found.
You're fighting a mechanical problem and electrical problem, because the electrical portion of the car is trying to compensate for a mechanical issue. I thought we had one last week in here. Actually, we just had a gentleman pick up a truck that had the V8 with the timing chain problem, and it was at 3 other shops, and then we did a electrical test on it, and we could see all the cylinders on one side down 1%. You might not think 1% is a big deal, but when that camshaft retards or advances, it could change the geometry of how the truck runs, because they need to be everything needs to be in time, because if we're out of tooth one way or another, things will work, but they don't work efficiently, and that's the problems that I feel that you're having in this truck.
Okay.
So, that being said, obviously we've had some trucks where a valve spring is broke or a rocker arm has fallen off, and we do a compression check on it. We had 0 compression because that valve's not opening. When the valve's not opening and closing in the right time, it's going to affect how much compression we have in that cylinder. Okay. Not to say that we don't have valve and seat damage, you know, in the future, because of this ethanol fuel. I've actually seen where the valves beat on that seat and they actually get further up inside the head, and over time causes drivability problems. Usually we find that where we'll have a lot lower compression than what we have there, but the man will only have a problem on one cylinder. Most of the time it'll be a misfire, not a lack of power. Like
there's a varnish buildup probably?
Well, we bore scoped everything in there. Everything looked okay. My preferred is to rip everything off and look at it firsthand. But we do have a bore scope camera that we actually take the spark plugs out, and we stick this camera down up in there. I probably got some pictures on here.
Oh, yeah.
And that way we don't have to tear a man's engine apart, and we could actually rotate the engine and look at the valves. And I've got some pictures of some here. Let's see here. Let's go into the snap-on. Let's go here. Maybe if I go that one. Photos. Okay. Let me see if we can zoom in on this one. On this particular man's truck, I went in the oil pan, and without tearing the man's apart, I found metal in the oil pan. This is a piston that had come apart. So we use this tool so that way we're not tearing a man's truck. On this particular truck here, this is a cylinder. I don't know if you can see. This is the valve. Actually, that's the valve, and that's the cylinder, and that's the head. And we're actually getting up in here, and we've seen this valve's actually, if you look at it, it's bent. You can see how part of it, this is part of the here, and it's bent, and it's stuck down up in there. So we didn't really have to spend 5-6 hours tearing a man's car apart and say, hey, you got a bent valve. This is what we need to do.
That's unbelievable. Orthoscopic surgery going on.
Well, this is basically, I mean, I've got, like we had another gentleman broke a spark plug off in the head. He couldn't get the spark plug in, so he broke it off. This portion is left down inside the cylinder head, and without knowing what we're up against, you know, most guys said, dealers said, we got to pull the head and it's going to be $3,800. Well, he didn't like that answer. He went to somebody else and they tried to get it out and cost him another $500. So they let us do it, and then we were able to get it out and save everything for him. That's another picture of an O2 sensor. We went up in there and seen that somebody had put some debris and stuff like that, catalytic converter coming apart. So, you know, that's another picture of a cylinder. We don't want to play that one. I don't know what
that's a nifty little tool.
Yeah, and that's basically what we did.
Was that like $15,000-$20,000 thing or something?
No, not that much. It's $1,000.
Oh.
No, They do make them more sophisticated
heard,
with glasses, and that you can get up in there electronic where this thing will move around. But we got a 90-degree camera in here and basically a regular borescope camera, so we can actually get into it looks like someone took a.
So you're feeling like the stretch is what's causing most of the problem. However, there's a little bit of play in that mechanical part that could be corrected that can make it more precise.
Yes, sir. And basically, here's another picture of a camshaft lobe. I didn't, because this was in a diesel truck, it's very labor intensive to get to it. We were able to pull the oil pan off, charge the man a nominal fee, and stick the borescope camera up in there and see what the cause of failure was.
Okay.
See, the diesel engines are $10,000 to $14,000. So you need to be precise when you're selling a man a $14,000 engine. So, and that's why we do this, and that's why we spend a little extra bit of time.
Yeah.
And that's what we did with your truck. We went in with the camera in there and borescoped it, looked at the valve's face, and I didn't see anything damaged. So that's one of the reasons why I don't recommend pulling the head off to do a valve job. I want to start with simple stuff. It's complex.
Get the timing right, essentially.
Well, they always say keep it simple. You know what I mean?
Well, I've got a guy that he runs a 33 bay mechanic shop. It's Nissan of Metro Center.
Okay.
And
where's that at?
West Mays.
Okay.
Jim Blevin's friend.
Yes. Okay.
And he can do my timing belt fairly reasonable. However, if it's more than that, I'm gonna be right back. But you guys take it from there. But you can at least get that done and go from there. And
I'll be honest, it's like, this is how I explain to folks, and I'm all about saving money, and I'm the same way.
I know, $600 might include more mechanics in there, I don't know.
Well, my thinking is it's like you're going to have a doctor to do surgery, okay?
Right.
You know what, this doctor's cheaper to do eye surgery than Mig Wang over here. I'm going to go to Xing Bling over here.
I know it.
And
this isn't a human being, though. This is a $2,000 truck at best.
Yeah. But,
if that.
But the point I'm trying to get at is it's easier for the diagnostician to start the process and finish it and give you a finished result. Obviously, I know the timing belt needs some service, and my fear is, hey, we go over here and he does this, and you say, hey, it's still running bad. You're going to bring it back to me. I'm going to have to start from ground zero and make sure...
Do everything you did before?
Make sure that he did his job right. I don't trust anybody, and I hate.
I understand that.
I hate to be like
that. And I won't be offended, and I doubt he will too, because you obviously got a very nice shop with everything going on. Keep it clean, by the way.
We try to be very precise because I don't care if it's a $5 problem or a $10,000 problem. I need to be on point. It's no different than when you go on a roof. You don't want to be $2,000 or $3,000 off your estimate.
I'm keeping my old components too if we need to switch them out.
Yeah.
When I bring it back, it'll probably have Motorcraft everything as far as at least the plugs and wires.
When we do Nissans, this lady's our bookkeeper. I put Denso parts because that's what Nissan puts in from the factory. We actually putting a transmission in this. This belongs to the city of Murfreesboro. We're putting a
real transmission from
Ford. Put a Ford.
You put Delco on Chevy and all that stuff.
If you look out there, I got a police car from the city of Murfreesboro police car. We work on a lot of city vehicles.
You do, don't you?
I work on the city, state, government, like military.
Well, you obviously put first class together, and it's not going to come cheap, and I respect that. On this particular truck, I have a certain budget I'm going to try to stay within. However, I promise if if he breaks something and we got to replace it, we'll just have to end up doing it. I'm going to take a chance.
Yeah, I understand, and I can respect that. It's
By
all
the
about
way,
the budget. So.
Do you mind? You gave me a lot of good information on these. I haven't found anywhere. I think it's worthy of YouTube.
Oh, okay.
If you're okay with that.
I don't have a problem with that.
I think
You've been recording me all this time?
I have been